Again, please turn off or silence your cell phones. Please provide, when we open up for questions, please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question and to whom you are directing your question. Recording this press conference video on cell phones is prohibited. And if you are joining on Zoom, please use the raised hand function for questions. We'll address questions in the room first and take questions from Zoom as time permits. Okay, Tom, just give us an overview, please.
Yes, sir. Obviously disappointing loss, but, we'll come out ready to play tomorrow like we've done all year. We've responded to adversity all year, and tomorrow will be no different. Thought Sully threw the ball really well, kind of quieted the game down, kind of kept us in it, gave us chances. And we had people on base all day. We were 2 for 17 with runners on base today. And, that's just not going to, obviously, it's going to be hard-pressed to win a game, with those kind of numbers with people on base. I had a chance to walk Beloso there, and 2-0 count. I wanted to do it. I was in between, and I should have pulled the trigger on an intentional walk there and loaded the bases for Thompson. I regret doing that. Seth threw a 2-0 changeup that he just elevated, and Beloso didn't miss it. He's a good hitter, and should have walked him in that situation, and I think it would have been a totally different game had I done that. Put a little more pressure on them, but got to come out tomorrow and play good baseball.
Okay, we'll open it up now for questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you and give us your name and affiliation. And the first question goes in the back here. Claire. Jack.
Jack Dongshire with Foul. Sean, this one for you. You're spectacular tonight. Not only, obviously, being able to save some of your bullpen going into tomorrow and moving forward as well, but is it maybe something that you can take from a scouting report perspective and talk to the guys who are going to throw tomorrow, something that you maybe saw offensively, obviously, they game plan?
Yeah, definitely. I think, just seeing that order twice is just like a big advantage for us, and I think I can give some key tips to other pitchers coming in facing them tomorrow.
Okay, next question. Yeah, Aaron.
Thank you. Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. Pierce, obviously it's been difficult hitting conditions out here all week with the wind, doing what it does here, but you were able to get a couple. But what's kind of the key, do you think, going forward for this team to try to get something going in these conditions?
Yeah, well, it's all about adjusting, especially here. We usually play a pretty small ballpark. The balls that usually go out there aren't going out here. So we need to really adjust on kind of keeping hard and low line drives, which is hard to do. Hitting's hard. You can't really intentionally do that all the time, but kind of just focusing in and zeroing in on just hitting line drives, finding the holes. I think LSU did a good job of that, keeping it low, making our guys make plays. A lot of our outs were left up in the air. Good swings. A lot of guys had good swings, just right at guys. But, yeah, just things didn't really fall the way we wanted to.
Okay, next question. Matt?
Matty Ramirez, White and Blue Review for Pierce. You made LSU use 3 pitchers to get you guys out, the first 6 outs. What do you think stalled out in terms of your offensive momentum that you had early?
Yeah, credit to their pitchers. They kind of quieted the storm. But we had a lot of situational at-bats to kind of get some runs in, gain some momentum, maybe get some more pitchers out before they kind of got in their groove. But, yeah, just runners on third, less than 2 outs. Couldn't get them in a couple of times throughout the game, which I felt like was the difference. But, yeah, credit to their pitchers. They slowed it down, and they're fighting. So.
Okay, right here.
Les Johns, Demon Deacon Digest. For both Pierce and Sean, tomorrow will be the first elimination game you guys have faced the entire NCAA tournament. I know it's kind of fresh in your minds, but what's kind of the mindset for the team, and what was that, post-game, huddle like?
Sean, you start.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show us, take any day for granted and just keep fighting for another day to play with each other. I know that's what it's all about. That's what we want to do. Just, we're going to have to be extra gritty tomorrow, grind out at-bats, just keep working on the mound. It's just fight to play one more day with each other.
Pierce?
Yeah, it's just another game. Bottom line, we've been doing it all year. Haven't lost a series all year. Knock on wood on that one. So I mean, we've been through it before. It's just another game for us. We're going to come out ready to play.
Okay, any more questions for the student athletes? Not, guys. Thank you. Get ready for tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, open it up for questions for Tom, and we'll start with Essex over here.
Essex there, blogger said your coach, your 2 through 5 hitters, I mean, they drew walks, but combined they went 0 for 15 at the plate tonight. What were you seeing in particular from them, especially on looking at a lot of pitches?
Yeah, again, Herring came in and threw well. He was kind of effectively wild. You know, he would have big misses and then he'd locate, and you know, and he's got a good arm. I mean, he's got good stuff, and we just didn't kind of force him to get in the zone enough, and didn't kind of grind and stay inside baseballs as much as we needed to on a day like this. I think 18 of our first 21 outs were via either a fly ball or a strikeout. And you know, when you're playing in these conditions, you've got to keep the ball out of the air. You've got to be hard and low. You can't strike out, and you can't hit the ball in the air. And we did both those things today.
Okay, next question. Yeah, Les.
Hey Tom, you mentioned you almost gave an intentional pass on the at bat that ended up with the 3-run homer. I'm curious, did you give any thought about bringing Sean Sullivan in at that point and setting up a lefty on lefty matchup, maybe to try to get out of that jam?
Yeah, Sully wasn't quite ready. I mean, it was just the third inning of the game, and Seth had thrown really well in the first inning, and the second inning, didn't throw great, but pitched well enough to get out of it. And again, 2 walks, and first baseman hits a ball, kind of bounces over Kurtz's head. So it's not like he was out there getting barreled up. It was just one of those situations where when he fell behind Beloso, I should have just followed my gut instinct, and I didn't do that because the next 2 guys are a good matchup for Seth.
Okay, Aaron.
Aaron Fitt, D1 again, Coach. Obviously, heart of your order, 3, 4, 5 guys. Struggled a little bit. I mean, haven't had necessarily loud weeks out here. Have you noticed any kind of, pressing? I hate to use that word, but any of that kind of thing? Or what can you think you can do to kind of spark something with those guys?
Yeah, I think it can turn quickly. I mean, Tommy Hawk pressed a little bit the first 2 games, and obviously every one of his at-bats today was really good. So really happy with the way Tommy set the table all day today. I thought Lucas gave us good at-bats. So, clearly we need to get Kurtzy and JJ going, those 2. We might flip the order a little bit and move Pierce up into that 5 hole and, maybe kind of give JJ, a little bit of a breather, a little less pressure situations. But, we need JJ and Kurtzy to get going. I mean, if we're gonna make a run here at this title, we're gonna need those 2 guys to get rolling.
Okay, next question. Yeah, right here.
Coach, Michael Ferraro with Bird Sports Network. You used 2 pitchers today. Could you just talk about how big, even though the outcome isn't the way you want it, how big those guys stepped up for you to save some arms for tomorrow?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, we were, when we're down 3, we were kind of in between on whether to go to Sully or just piece it together with some other guys and save Sully for tomorrow. But, we felt like we'd score. And again, we had opportunities to score. We had runners on base and just couldn't get the big hit. And again, Herring was the difference. Me not walking Beloso and Herring that was the difference in the game today. I give credit to Herring. I don't think he's thrown 80 pitches all game. I mean, I don't know that he's thrown 80 pitches in a week all year based on the numbers. And he went out there and gave them 80 really good pitches. So he was the difference.
Okay, Matt.
Coach Matt Talbot from World Baseball Network. What's it going to be like tomorrow to just have Bennett Lee behind the dish, let alone on what he's been doing with the pitching staff all season and just putting up consistent numbers for the pitching staff, let alone for Bennett? Yeah,
he's our guy. He's a leader on this team, and again, we'll be in a good headspace tomorrow. I don't worry about us coming out and playing well or being nervous or the situation being too big for us, and that starts with our leadership group, and Bennett Lee's kind of at the front of that. Pierce Bennett, who you saw here, and Bennett Lee are 2 guys at the front of that.
Okay, Les.
I know it's kind of early, but what is the pitching plan, and will Rhett Lauder be on the board for you tomorrow?
That's a great question, Les. I'm not 100% sure on Rhett. We'll have to talk to him. We'll see how he feels tomorrow and make a decision on that. Knowing Rhett, he'll probably be on the board tomorrow. But, we've got Manassi, we've got Roland, we've got Massey, we've got, Ray and Crum and Mascolo, Joe Areola. I mean, we've certainly got plenty of pieces tomorrow.
Okay, any more questions for Tom? Yeah, right back here. Back.
Connor O'Neill, Deacons Illustrated. Tom, do you expect to see Paul Skeens tomorrow?
I do. I do expect to see Paul Skeens tomorrow. He threw before the game today and was cutting it loose pretty good. So I imagine that that's exactly who we'll see.
Okay, Tom, that'll do it. Thank you.
All right,
See
guys.
you tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're checking. Thank you. Okay, once again, give us your name and affiliation, and we'll start first with a statement from Jay.
Yeah, great performance tonight by our team. Thought it was a great team win. Had a little bit of adversity early in the game there, and really responded offensively. In the second inning, we took some really good at-bats, and then big inning, obviously, there in the third, with a great one by Cade. Really proud of the pitching staff. Everybody contributed tonight. It was big of Javen to get out of the first inning with no runs. We didn't do him any favors offensively in the first, going down on 9 pitches and swinging at like 3 or 4 balls, which was a little out of character, so we made it tough on him in the second. Blake, after giving up the single, that was a big out right there with their best hitters coming up. And then obviously what a performance by Griffin to strike out Kurtz, to limit the damage there, and then really settled into the game and got us the length that we needed. And then Gavin came in and executed incredibly well, and Riley finished off another one. So good performance, and we'll turn it over to tomorrow.
Okay, let's have questions for the student athletes, and we'll start right here.
Wilson Alexander from the Advocate for Cade. Just take us through your home run at bat. What were you seeing there, and especially on the pitch, the home run pitch itself?
Yeah, I was just trying to hit a fly ball in center field, stay out of the double play. Once that pass ball happened, kind of changed my mindset a little bit. But when you have good as a coach as Coach Jay, especially with hitting, he's telling you to get the ball at your thigh, you better listen. So got a change up at my thigh and put a good swing on it, and just went over the fence.
Okay, Leah.
Leah Van, Baton Rouge Advocate. Griffin, what was working for you on the mound tonight? And yeah.
I would say the fastball was probably my main pitch tonight. Had good run to it. I think maybe it sank a little bit sometimes it rode. So, probably fastball. Slider got working towards the end, but yeah.
Okay, Mike.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge. Cade, just how much has your past and everything you've kind of seen and gone through kind of made you ready for moments when they come up?
I mean, yeah, it just kind of puts things into perspective, and it's just like the whole concept, like behind like have to versus get to. Like you don't have to come through in those moments. Like you get to be in those moments, and that's the thing that kind of puts me at peace, especially like when the game's at its highest and stuff like that. And just in the on deck circle, trying to get yourself as calm as possible, especially when you kind of see the moments coming. But yeah, just trying to stay calm as possible.
Okay, right here.
Cookie Riley with the Advertiser. Riley, what do you do to sort of make yourself just, I guess, physically ready for a moment like this after you threw 40 pitches yesterday?
A lot of water and sleep. Try to sleep as much as I can, and I just show up, and I feel good.
Okay, here in the.
And then kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum there, I mean, Griffin, you hadn't pitched really in 2 weeks. I mean, just what do you do to stay ready to be able to kind of come out and go 4 1/3 and really kind of shut the middle of that game down a little bit?
We throw weekly bullpens. Coach Wes Johnson, he does a great job with us. Really good catch play, a lot of intent with everything that we're doing, and pure adrenaline. This place is awesome. I think I kind of was able to feed off the adrenaline instead of letting it get to me, kind of like steroid shot. Pretty cool.
Get back over here.
We'll make sure the adrenaline is not on the NCAA banned substance list.
Daniel Griffin.
Michael Farrar with Berg Sports Network. My question is for Riley and Griffin. Riley, can you talk about Griffin's performance today? And Griffin, can you talk about the big outing from Riley at the end there?
Riley, you start.
I mean, it was huge. He killed up a lot of innings, and he threw good, and he's been doing that all year, and it's just really cool to see him do it here on the big stage.
Griffin.
We all knew what he was going to do. He comes in, closes it out, has fastball working, a lot of ride. It's just what he does.
Okay, Michael.
Cade, what is it about Riley? Is it just deception? People have seen him enough now, but they still can't get to him.
Yeah, I mean, he just makes things uncomfortable as a hitter. He could throw any pitch and any count for a strike whenever he wants to. In college baseball, it's pretty hard to do. And, he throws 90 to 93 miles an hour from the left side, which is, that's pretty good. He's really good, and, he just pounds his own. So, you can't take an at-bat off of him. He never really gets out of control, like sporadic when he's throwing the ball. So he's always going to compete.
Okay, Matt.
Matt Talberty from World Baseball Network. Cade, what does it feel to have guys like Joe Burt and let alone Cruz starting off that inning in the third to set the tone for your at-bat?
Yeah, I mean, he's the best player in college baseball, and, he's on our team. He does what he does. He's one of the most complete players I've ever seen, and, I watch MLB baseball every day. So, I mean, that speaks measures to him. But, he always comes through in the big moments. That's just – he's like our catalyst for the offense, So, when he gets things rolling, it just gives the rest of us confidence.
I'm going to go Leah here.
Griffin, this is a big stage for true freshmen like you. At what point in time when you were on the mound did you feel like you had settled into this game, or was that something you felt in the beginning?
Honestly, I never did. I was just kind of out there throwing the ball and just looking at Al. That was pretty much it. I mean, I never really felt like, I'm really, in this, they can't touch me. I just was throwing the ball.
Serious. This guy's a comedian.
Cade, is there something about the batter's eye here that just allows you to see the ball a lot better? You've just been taking great hacks during this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the nicest fields in America. The people whoever constructed this field and put it all together did a phenomenal job. So you can see the ball good here. They got bright lights and good batter's eye.
Okay, we got here Aaron.
Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball for Riley and Griffin. There was a stretch kind of during the middle of the year where the bullpen, obviously went through some struggles, been pretty well documented, but down the stretch it's been dramatically better statistically, and especially here in Omaha. What do you guys think has been the biggest difference in the bullpen kind of gelling the way it has?
Griffin?
I think everybody's just playing for each other. I mean, nobody wants to see that last game. I know for a fact nobody on this staff, nobody in the dugout, and we're all just playing for each other, doing everything we can. And, the bullpen was always talented, so none of us were ever worried about it.
Riley?
Yeah, we just want to win, and so we're just doing our part, and because we always know the hitters got our back, so we just thought we should, get even with them and win some games.
Michael?
For Riley and for Griffin, just how much is there chatter about throwing strikes, being aggressive because the way the wind, the ballpark plays? Is that conscious in your all's thought?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking the whole time. I mean, when you have Dylan in center, I have pretty good confidence in him catching the ball. So, yeah, I just throw strikes and, just let him hit it and stuff, and it worked out well.
Griffin?
Yeah, just to add to that, Coach Johnson, from the very, very first day we got here, first practice, he said just dominate the white. Not a hitter-friendly park, so just dominate over the plate, and you're going to get a lot of outs.
Okay, back here in the back, this will be our last question for the players.
Jacques Doucet, WAP-TV in Baton Rouge. To all three of you guys, your thoughts on one game to win to go to the National Championship Series?
It's another game. We're not going to make it anything bigger than it is. It's the same game we've been playing since February. We're going to go out there, we're going to have fun, and we're going to compete, to the best of our abilities and let the rest take care of itself. But, yeah, we're not going to make it some massive thing. Today everybody knows the scenario, but, you don't have to put any more pressure on yourself. Just go out there and have fun.
Riley?
Basically what he said is we're just going to play one game at a time how we normally do. And, just do what we do.
Griffin?
Yeah, just one pitch at a time. We got guys like Dylan Cruz, Cade Beloso, Riley Cooper. So I think we're just going to play loose, have fun.
Okay, man. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Can I take this?
Not yet. Not yet. Leave it here. Leave it here.
It's Bush.
When the time comes, you'll get them. Okay, questions for Jay. And we'll start with Michael here.
Sorry, I got to ask it, so I want to get it in early. What's the thought process and the conversation involved with postgames and availability?
We'll talk to him tonight. I think it's a day-by-day deal. We have a pretty thorough process that we go through with pitchers and their availability and testing and recovery and all of those types of things. So we still need to go through that tomorrow before we make any decision.
Okay, Matt.
Matt DeMarinis, White and Blue Review. I think if someone were to walk in here and not really know what's going on, they wouldn't know these guys are playing elimination games the last 2 days by just their attitudes. Does that permeate through the entire roster, and why do you think your guys are so loose despite the pressure?
Yeah, I think, in the first meeting of the year, every year, one thing I tell them is 365 days a year, we're going to work on mindset. We expect to be here. We expect to be playing important baseball in June. And we play every game like we're playing important baseball in June. Like the Tuesday on March 22nd against McNeese is the playoff game to us. And the thought process behind that is if you do that all year long, then you can just stay in character when you get to the postseason. And that's something that I adopted early on in my career, and I think it's really benefited us in tournament play.
Yeah, here.
Coach, yesterday you told us that you didn't see Nate Ackenhausen as a Cinderella story, and now you have another guy step up and extend further than he has all season in Griffin Herring. What was working for him tonight? What made you believe that he could go as long as he did?
Yeah, I thought he mixed well. I thought he threw all his pitches for strikes. I thought he had great composure. I think he plays older than his age, and I think throughout the season he's pitched in enough high-leverage spots there's a few Fridays in a row. I want to say we brought him in after Paul to complete Friday 3 weeks in a row for wins. I want to say it was Ole Miss, somebody else, Alabama, Kentucky maybe, and he did a great job there. So I thought he would play well. or pitch well against their lineup, and he certainly did.
Okay, back over here.
Yeah, Jay, Glenn West, 247. Just, I guess, following up on that, I think your pitching ERA for the postseason is like right at a 2.0 or something like that. I mean, just what is it about this staff where it's just kind of flipped for them in these last 3 weeks that's allowed them to have so much success?
Well, I have two thoughts on that. I think, number one, I don't think the season was as bad as people made it out to be. Like, look at our schedule. Like, just look back at who we've played. And then the Southeastern Conference is not friendly as far as the environments that these guys pitch in. You know, not from a fan standpoint, but from the ball. They're small. I mean, I don't have any other way to say it. And you're going to give up some runs in league. And that's every staff in the SEC. So I think part of it was some of that. I think, the best coach that any player is ever going to have in their life is playing time and being through some of that. So when you look back at a couple of speed bumps, I think about Auburn, and Mississippi State, we didn't want to waste those losses or failure. And I think we learned a lot of things, both as coaches. We've adjusted some of the preparation things. We've adjusted some of the usage, not just in how, what pitches they throw, but how we're using guys. And so I think it's just been a good team effort, and I think we got guys that are good. I think we've evaluated really good with this roster. We feel like we've learned it better as the season's gone along. And, another thought that we talk about early is like, let's play well enough to win games early in the season so you can be in the NCAA tournament, but let's figure out our best team as we go.
Okay. Wilson.
Wilson here with The Advocate. Cade Beloso is obviously he's got this great story, but he's also one of your best hitters. What is it about him that makes him capable of coming up in a moment like that?
Yeah, I was kind of chuckling inside at one of the questions earlier about doing well here. I mean, I was just looked down. He has 15 home runs and a ton of RBIs. He's had a great season. I just think he worked really hard, which we've well documented. Worked really hard going into last season, and then got hurt right before the opening day and missed last season, and then, doubled up on those efforts. And, I mean, literally changed his swing, improved his body a little bit, really honed in his approach, and he's got great hand-eye. I mean, he's one of those guys that feels like he was born to hit a line drive somewhere. I mean, it's just he has that kind of feel to him, and that's why he's sitting right where he is in that order, is because you trust him to come up with guys on base and give you a quality at bat, and that was a great one today.
Get back over here. Michael.
Coach, Michael Farrar with Berg Sports Network. Could you talk about how big the offense came up today in the third inning there?
Yeah, I did not like the first inning, and again, we're talking about three future major leaguers that hit for us in the first inning. But first pitch out, and then I thought Tommy swung at a ball on strike three, and I thought Trey swung at a ball on the 3-2. Now, Keener is really good and has deception like their whole staff does. And then we gave up two. And again, part of that was the offense's fault for making Javen go out there that quickly after a tough first inning. Like, that's bad baseball. Then so we just gathered it up. It's like we'd actually talked about a scenario where if you lose your plan in the postseason, that this can get away from you and it's over, just like that. So we had already talked about what I saw happen in the first inning, and it's we have to get back in character. And they did immediately, against two really good pitchers tonight. And Sullivan's tough. He's really tough, and we didn't do anything really off of him, but I'm pretty pleased with how we tried to execute what we were trying to do off of him.
Okay, Leah.
This is the third game in the College World Series that you've had Riley Cooper come out and pitch in relief. I mean, what gives you that trust in him, and, what does his recovery process look like?
Yeah, I think when you're physical and bigger and stronger, I mean, he's one of the strongest guys, pound for pound on the team, you tend to recover better. And so that's part of what makes him is the stuff that shows up. But again, I've said this before, probably over the 2 weeks before we got here, it's not about spin rate right now. It's not about velocity. It's about pitch execution and winners. And he is a winner. And that's why I believe in him.
Okay, we have one more question for Jay. And if anybody wants it, okay. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.